Hi, my name is Pankaj Singh, and this is our RedHat-Openshift-Hackathon-Project called Toll Microservice. Toll Microservice is a comprehensive solution designed to effectively manage and calculate toll costs for vehicles. And each vehicle is having OBU device equipped in it, and this microservice provide a real-time tracking for their position and the toll expenses. So on the architecture point of view, we have OBU receiver server, Kafka stream, distance calculator microservice, storer microservice, and our API gateway. And about the architecture we have, so you can see we have multiple OBU devices sending their data on OBU server via WebSocket, and then OBU server publishing all this data in a Kafka stream, and then distance calculator reading data from the Kafka topic, calculating the distance, and then making a gRPC call to the store microservice. So now we have a microservice to microservice call using gRPC. And then from storer, we are storing the data, calculating the price, storing it all the data in the PostgreSQL. And then we have a serverless backend built using the Knative object of the OpenShift to make it serverless. Now I'll show you how to deploy this microservice in the OpenShift cluster. So first you have to first about the prerequisites. You should have a Red Hat OpenShift account for uh, developer account for OpenShift, and then OC command line tool, Helm CLI, Docker and Docker Compose not required. But if you want to deploy the microservice in the local environment, then it is recommended. And Node.js should be installed in a system. So log into our OpenShift cluster. Display token, and then you can take this and paste it in your terminal. We're first going to create a PostgreSQL pod. Here we got a PostgreSQL pod. Now we're going to clone the repository. I've already cloned it. I'm going to cd init. So there we see we have our Helm chart. So in order to deploy the microservice, all we have to do is helm install toll microservice /helm/helm/helm. Okay, so it says the microservice got deployed. We can check with our OC command line tool. So we can see we have a distance calculator, our API gateway, which is a serverless microservice, our Kafka, our PostgreSQL, our receiver, OU receiver, the storer, and the zookeeper for the Kafka. Now let's check the routes. So we have our receiver route here. Now let's check our Knative services. So you can see we have our API gateway. If I check this, you can see right now we don't have any devices here. And if we check the API, which is /invoice/API/v1/OBU, there is no OBU device because we haven't published any data to our OBU receiver. Now let's publish some data. So this is our OBU here. So first we will npm install, and then we will generate 50 OBU devices, and it will publish data to this WebSocket, which we just get from here, because it's a service which got exposed by the routes. Now let's publish some data. And you can see it is publishing data to our OBU server. Now if I refresh, I started getting all the data. In the data we have OBU ID, starting latitude, starting longitude, destination longitude, total distance, and the total price that the device have currently, and when it started the journey, and what's the current time period. So if I refresh it, it's going to refresh. Now if I take, I want to track only one OBU device, I can do that. Now if I refresh it, you can see this distance is changing. That's pretty cool. Now we have a very simple UI also where you can track all these, and here we go. So this is the UI which says all vehicle ID and the distance and the invoice. You can download this invoice also in a PDF format. You can check that. And then we have a plan trip. This is just a dummy UI. You can calculate the distance and the toll price between two locations based on the latitude and longitude. And also the overview, the graph overview of our microservice once they get deployed in the OpenShift cluster. So there you see we have our storer, our receiver, which is exposed to the route, and then our distance calculator, and zookeeper and Kafka. And then we have our API gateway, which is our Knative microservice, a serverless microservice, a PostgreSQL pod, which we deployed in the starting of the microservice. That's all. Hope you guys like it. And huge shout out to my teammate Rohit.